Imagine coming home to find food missing from your kitchen, your things moved around, strange sounds from upstairs at night. Sarah thought she was losing her mind, until she discovered someone had been living in her attic for months. But the truth was, nothing like she expected. Sarah first noticed something was wrong when her groceries kept disappearing. She'd buy a loaf of bread on Monday. By Wednesday, half was gone. She lived alone and rarely ate bread. At first, she blamed herself. Maybe she forgot to eat it. Maybe she was stress eating without realizing. Think about your own kitchen right now. You know exactly where everything goes. You'd notice if someone moved your coffee mug, or if your favorite snacks went missing. That's how Sarah felt every single day. The bread was just the beginning. Her shampoo bottle emptied faster than usual. Clean towels would appear in the dirty laundry. Sometimes her TV was on a different channel than she remembered. Small things that made her question her own memory. Sarah started keeping a journal. She wrote down everything she bought, every channel she watched, where she left her keys. She needed proof she wasn't going crazy. The journal revealed a terrifying pattern. Someone was definitely in her house. But who and when? Sarah worked from home most days. She had a security system. All her doors and windows stayed locked. Her neighbors were elderly and quiet. None of this made sense. The sounds started 3 weeks later. Soft footsteps above her bedroom, always around 2 a.m. when she was fast asleep. The first few times, she convinced herself it was mice. Old houses make weird noises, right? But mice don't walk in human patterns. Sarah bought a baseball bat. She kept it next to her bed every night, but she was too scared to investigate alone. What if someone dangerous was up there? What if they had weapons? What if there were multiple people? Have you ever felt like someone was watching you in your own home? Sarah finally called her brother Mike for help last Tuesday morning. Mike was a police officer in the next town over. He knew how to handle scary situations. Sarah felt embarrassed asking for help. She worried he'd think she was paranoid. But the missing food and strange sounds were getting worse. Imagine calling a family member about something this weird. "Hey, I think someone's living in my attic." It sounds crazy when you say it out loud. But Sarah had evidence now. Photos of moved items, audio recordings of footsteps, her detailed journal entries. Mike arrived that evening with his flashlight and radio. He took Sarah's concerns seriously. He'd seen similar cases before. People are hiding in attics, basements, and even closets. It happened more often than most people realized. They started in Sarah's bedroom. Mike pointed his flashlight at the ceiling. There was definitely an attic access panel above her closet. Sarah had never noticed it before. The paint around the edges looked disturbed, like someone had opened it recently. Mike climbed up first. He used his phone's flashlight to look around. The attic was bigger than expected. It ran the full length of the house. Perfect place for someone to hide during the day. That's when they found the evidence. A sleeping bag in the corner, empty food containers, a small camping lantern. Someone had been living up there for weeks, maybe months. They'd created a whole living space in Sarah's attic. But here's the strangest part. Everything was incredibly organized. The food containers were neatly stacked. The sleeping bag was military style, perfectly folded. Even a small pile of books sat arranged by size. This wasn't some random homeless person or dangerous intruder. Mike called for backup immediately. They needed to search the whole house, find out who this person was, and most importantly, where they were right now. What would you do if you found someone's secret bedroom in your house? The police arrived within minutes and surrounded Sarah's house completely. They used heat sensors to check if anyone was inside. The attic was empty now, but someone could be hiding anywhere, behind furniture, in closets, even in the basement. The search needed to be thorough and careful. Picture police officers going through every room of your house, opening every door, checking every corner. Sarah felt violated and scared. This was supposed to be her safe space, her home, was where nothing bad could happen. The search took 2 hours. They found more evidence throughout the house. A toothbrush was hidden behind Sarah's bathroom cabinet. Clean clothes were folded in her guest room closet. Even some personal photos were tucked under her living room couch. This person knew Sarah's schedule perfectly. They knew when she showered, when she slept, when she left for errands. They'd been watching her daily routine for months, learning her habits, her preferences, even her favorite TV shows. But they still hadn't found the actual person. Where could someone hide during a police search? The officers checked every possible space twice. Under beds, behind curtains, inside, large cabinets. Nothing. That's when Sarah heard a familiar voice outside. "Please don't arrest me. I can explain everything." The voice was shaky, scared, and definitely male. Sarah recognized it immediately, but couldn't place where from. The officers brought the man to Sarah's front porch. He was about 60 years old, thin, and wearing clean clothes. He didn't look dangerous or homeless. Actually, he looked almost normal, like someone's grandfather or a retired teacher. "I'm sorry, Sarah," he said quietly. "I never meant to scare you." He knew her name. He'd been watching her long enough to learn everything about her life. Sarah felt sick to her stomach. But then he said something that changed everything. "My name is David Martinez. I think I'm your father." Sarah's world stopped completely. Her father had abandoned the family when she was 2 years old. She had no memories of him, no photos, no contact information, nothing. Could this stranger really be her dad? David had been searching for Sarah for over 20 years. After he left, Sarah's mother moved several times, changed their phone numbers, even used different last names sometimes. She wanted to protect Sarah from David's drinking problems and gambling debts. Sarah grew up thinking her father didn't care about her, but David had been sober for 15 years now. He'd gotten help, found steady work, and saved money. Most importantly, he'd hired private investigators to find his daughter. It took years and cost thousands of dollars. Think about losing touch with someone you love. Imagine spending decades wondering where they are, whether they're happy, healthy, or even alive. That was David's life for 20 years. Every day, I wonder about my little girl. When David finally found Sarah's address, he couldn't just knock on her door. What if she slammed it in his face? What if she called the police immediately? He'd been rehearsing what to say for months, but still felt terrified, so he decided to watch her first, learn about her life, see if she seemed happy or angry. He told himself he'd only stay a few days, just long enough to work up the courage to introduce himself properly, but Sarah seemed so content and peaceful. She had friends who visited, a job she enjoyed from home, a routine that made her smile. David worried that showing up would ruin everything she'd built. Days turned into weeks. David couldn't leave, but couldn't reveal himself either. He was stuck, watching the daughter he'd lost decades ago, living off her groceries, using her shower when she wasn't home, basically becoming the world's most guilty house guest. "You'd know how crazy this sounds," David told Sarah and the police. "I was trying to protect you from more disappointment. I thought if I learned about your life first, I'd know the right way to approach you." Sarah stared at this stranger claiming to be her father. She'd imagined this moment her whole life, but never like this, never with police officers and evidence of stalking. Was David telling the truth? And if he was, could Sarah ever forgive him? Sarah's story shows how family secrets can create the strangest situations. David's 20-year search led to months of accidental stalking. His fear of rejection turned into behavior that terrified his own daughter. But sometimes, the most frightening mysteries have the most human explanations. Sarah and David are now in family therapy, slowly rebuilding their relationship. Trust takes time, but love makes it possible. What would you do if a stranger claimed to be your long-lost parent? Let me know in the comments below, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more incredible true stories.